Welcome back to another episode of Applied History. I'm your host, Matt Blanchette. I'm here again with Matt Diana. Thanks for being with us.
Yep.
So we're teaching you how to do some great scarf joints, dovetail joints, and mortise and tenon. But first, we thought it would be prudent to start with the material and the tools that we'll be using in the next episode. So Matt, can you walk us through what you're using to create these joints?
So the first thing I'll start with is the materials we're dealing with. So first off, we have the timber itself. So I have two different types of wood. Primarily, we use eastern white pine, and it's kind of got a yellowish color. It's a little lighter.
Awesome.
Much of this frame is pine or some other softwood.
Yep.
And you can see I've already cut a tenon in this one.
Awesome. Where do you get that wood?
Yep. So we source that locally from Herrick Farm Sawmill in Raleigh.
Nice.
And they've been great.
Shout out to Herrick Farm.
Yeah, good guys over there. So a lot of pine we'll use on the upper parts of the frame. We'll also use a lot of white oak, which you can see is it's a lot heavier.
Yeah.
Even though this is a smaller piece, it's probably heavier than that piece right there.
Okay.
If you want to have a feel there.
I don't know if I can hold it.
Oh man.
So what's the benefit of using a denser wood versus a pine?
Yep, so the white oak, typically we'll use that with sills. White oak has a natural rot resistance, and any hardwood would also be structurally stronger than a softwood.
Yeah.
So we've actually used it in a beam over there. There's a lot of load on that floor,
Okay.
so we use an oak beam rather than a pine beam.
And is there a time where it's actually a benefit to use a softer wood?
Sometimes it's easier to handle. Sometimes it's cheaper,
Yeah.
easier to work.
Do you ever want it to be more pliable, or does that not make a difference?
Not particularly, no.
Okay.
No, I mean, you certainly want your strength and rigidity.
That's
and,
the mason in me talking.
yeah.
This is why he's the pro today, not me.
It's not a chimney, right?
Awesome, cool. All right,
Yep.
so that's the two different kinds of woods we're using.
Yeah.
And then what do we use for tools?
Yeah, so the first thing in laying out joinery would be layout tools. So obviously, carpenter's pencil is always good. You want one of these bigger pencils. The smaller one's just going to break your tip on you every 5 minutes.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
Yeah. Another important piece is the framing square. So this may look familiar for conventional framing.
Yeah.
Carpenters today use them, but historically they came from timber framers. And what's special about this, if you notice, this tang is 2 inch, and that tang is 1.5 inches.
Huh.
And all the layout is either going to be based on 1.5 inches or based on 2 inch. So you'll see our tenon has a 1.5 inch shoulder, 1.5 inch tenon.
Nice.
And so we'll lay out that same thing on the other end for the mortise.
Almost makes sense.
Yeah, and obviously you can do things square, you can lay out your thickness,
Excellent.
and that's where you start. Moving along the process, for the mortise, so now we're going to remove material in the mortise.
And so this is the mortise right here?
That's actually the tenon.
Okay.
We have a mortise right here.
Okay.
So you can see it just creates a square hole, essentially, is what we're doing.
Yeah.
In the simplest form, you can use a chisel, like one of the ones next to you.
You have some great chisels. Tell us about these chisels.
Yeah, so they come in a few different sizes. So you can see this
Yeah.
one, the smallest one, that's 1.5 inches. They go with the 1.5 inch tang there. And then the next one up is a 2 inch. And then that last one, so those first two are for chopping and hitting with a mallet, which we have our array of mallets here.
Okay.
And then the last one is called a slick, and that's more for fine paring.
This is the slick here?
Yep, and just kind of shaving. Think of like a
really
hand
thin.
plane.
Yep.
So you wouldn't want to hit that with a mallet.
No.
And so to remove the material, you'll use the chisels, start hammering away with your mallet.
Okay.
To make the process a little faster, you can drill material out
Start it out.
with
Yeah.
a drill bit. So
Okay.
some modern technology to expedite
So are
the
you
process.
using that round bit for the tenon?
For the mortise.
For the mortise?
So you see.
So it will actually start the hole. Okay, got it.
Yep. So you can drill out there, drill out as much as you can.
Yep.
And then you can take your chisel, clean it up. And now
Nice.
you've got a square
Nice and easy.
hole.
Okay. And what do we use axes for?
The axes, that was we don't use them that often, but kind of a special thing.
Yeah.
So if you
But
look
it's
at
fun when you do.
yeah, absolutely. If you get the wheel and axe. So most of our material is sawn off the sawmill, but sometimes we need to reproduce the timber using an axe. So you can see some of these beams here. They have they're hewn with an axe. So
Okay.
we took a round log and essentially chopped it square. So
Cool.
you'll
So
start.
what's that Viking axe for?
Viking axe. Well, you start off with this axe, creating notches along the log,
Okay.
and then you come along with the Viking axe, and that's the one you square it up with. So this is more of a finishing axe.
Okay.
So more of a kind of a sweeping motion.
And it has a longer blade, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas this one, more of a, you're swinging it.
Rough, just get started and
Yep.
then, okay. Cool.
And so that's more of timber processing. I wouldn't expect many people to do that,
Neat.
but it's fun.
So what else we got here?
Yep. So we also have, so here's our pegs. So you can see the mortise and tenon has this little hole. And what that's going to do, there's going to be a matching hole in the mortise. And so that peg is going to go in and lock that joint together.
Pretty neat.
Yep. And so to hammer that peg in, we have mallets.
Okay.
Of all.
So you would actually use a mallet that big for a peg that size?
You could, yeah. So you'd hammer that in.
Interesting.
Also hammering the joint together, right? Sometimes you need a little persuasion. Yep.
Got it. And what is this weapon? I understand it's French in nature. Can I pick it up?
Yeah, of course.
So
both ends are sharp. So
tell me about this guy. What is he doing for you?
Yeah, so that's another special treat. That's called a bisaiguë, and it's a French, basically a big chisel. And rather than which I showed you with.
Yeah, I think I've shown you.
Yeah, so with this, the English style, you take your chisel, you hit it.
Yeah.
So that one, you take the weight of the tool.
You're actually using,
and you're kind of pushing down on it.
Give a demonstration there.
Yeah, so if you were to use this, you take the weight of the tool, grab the handle, and you shave the corners. Or
say the name first one more time.
The bisaiguë.
Bisaiguë.
Pardon my French.
Okay.
So one end is similar to the slick. The other end is more of a
fine tool,
aggressive, chopping action.
That's fascinating.
So it was pretty cool.
That's what Scott does. Nice, excellent. All right, and so is there anything we haven't covered here? I think that's the majority of it.
Yeah. Oh, hand saws, right?
Yeah.
Those are important. So for our tenons, right?
Yeah.
We'll strike our line.
Yeah.
And you'll make your cut.
Make it nice and clean. Right on.
So if you want to, do it in the 19th century, use this.
Yeah.
In the 21st century, we have power saw.
There you go.
Of varying sizes.
You can tell which one you prefer. Awesome. So it's funny to me how tools haven't really evolved that much, and this is part of what's staying germane to the preservationist value. So very cool to see. I think this is stuff that a lot of homeowners might have, or you should have, because they're a lot of fun. And we're going to show you why they're fun in the next episode when we start making the joints. So thanks for the overview.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.